What's up, everyone, and welcome to season 4, episode 5. Getting confused, girl, all these dang numbers of Girl You Know What podcast. I am your host, Tyre.
And I'm Keisha.
And once again, now we're going to try. Now, this episode is going to be a little bit emotions all over the place and everything like that because we are going to just want to get the elephant out of the room, out of the way, and talk about Tyre Nichols' funeral. Neither one of us watched the service, but of course, like many people, we saw the clips and everything like that, the people who were there and, things like that. So we want to get into that. And also, I realized that, let me see, maybe a few days ago, I was going over some notes and things that we could talk about for the show. And I said, wait a minute. I said, I remember us intentionally starting the show around Black History Month. And I said, wait a minute, when did we first air the first episode? So I went back in Spreaker and I said, I think we're going to be posting this like a day before we posted the first episode. So I said, 1 year anniversary. That's cute. So
absolutely.
Yeah, so we're going to get into that.
It's been a year.
Yeah, it's been a year. So we're going to get into that later. And of course, as we started this show, and the main reason why we started this show at a particular time, it is Black History Month. Y'all are going to get Black History all freaking month long. Even though we give it to y'all all year long, but, this is extra special. So I'm going to quit running my mouth and let's just get into the funeral.
The service.
The service of Tyre Nichols. So go ahead.
It was very sad.
Yeah.
It was very... It was just, the whole situation is sad, honestly.
Yeah.
And so, every time I see his mother, it really breaks my heart.
Oh my goodness. My mom, my mom's emotional anyway, but she'll start crying like when she sees him. She says she can't help it.
And his mother, honestly, is the reason I didn't watch the video.
Right.
Because she was so... just destroyed.
Yeah.
It really it shook me to the core. And when that man was at the podium one time, I think he was a white man, and I think he was like, because remember, the family saw the video before they released the video.
Right, yeah.
And he was kind of recounting the events of the video, like what we were going to see. And as he was explaining it, she was just letting out these groans and these moans. And it just, y'all, and I think I said it before, ever since Philando Castile, I don't have the stomach for this anymore. I don't have the stomach for the beatings.
I can't watch the videos.
I just don't have it in me to look at that. It's too much.
And just think, if it's too much for us, just imagine what
his parents.
And to know that he was calling out for her, because I didn't realize that he was mainly calling out for her, not just because that was his mama.
But did they say she lived in the area?
And he was
running to her house. That's where he was running.
That's what took me out. I was like, damn.
You know what really broke my heart?
What?
And I hate when you watch the news and they play little bits and pieces of it. Because again, I have not watched it in its entirety. I don't even know where you go watch it.
Right.
Honestly.
I don't.
So when they play the clips on the news, and I'm not trying to, but he's like a little guy. He's like the nerd guys, that you went to school with.
Yeah, he was like a little skateboarder kid.
And to hear his little voice, he spoke so proper. And to hear his little voice say, well, what are you guys? You guys are really doing too much.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't.
And they just didn't care. They just went on and it just got worse. So
to hear his little voice, that just, even now, it just makes me too emotional.
Yeah.
Because I just be thinking, And this is why most Black people run from the police.
Right.
Like, his police will ask questions like, well, if you didn't do anything, what you run for? Because, bitch, y'all kill people.
Exactly. I'm scared.
Because our goal when we see you is to get away from you.
It's to live.
because too many black men have died in your
Mm-hmm.
presence.
Yes.
So immediately when we're pulled over, it induces panic in every black person. And this ain't even just about black men. Y'all
Mm-hmm.
done killed black women.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so if you are a black person, being having any encounter with the police, it ain't just about being pulled over. Having any encounter with the police induces fear and
Mm-hmm.
panic in your body.
Yeah.
So all you have are doing now is you're in survival mode. You're
Listen.
trying to figure out, how do I come out of this alive? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure in the instant that he was telling them, you guys are really doing too much. You went, he didn't have a second.
Mm-mm.
The minute you pulled him over and you went to his door, you were yanking him out of the car.
Yeah.
Like, there was not even a license and registration. There was none of that.
Mm-mm.
There was no, from what I saw. Let me say that. From
Yeah.
what I saw, there was no, hey, can we see your ID? Can we? No, yank the door open, pull him out. It's like he knew
Mm-hmm.
this is not going to end well.
And that's why his first instinct, like many people, is to run. And let me say, I'm glad you said something about that, like how black people, the first instinct is just to get away, just to, because you want to
Yes,
live,
it's
because
not that we're criminals. We just
Yeah.
don't even want to be in your
Right.
presence.
And let me say this, the craziest, and this was maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. I was at a festival with a friend, and there was a cop standing next to us in line. Like, I think it was like the food truck festival or something. It was something, but we were standing in line, like, to get food or a drink or something. And this cop was just talking to us. And he was very friendly, a white cop, not that it matters, and because we know blue, that's all they see.
Right.
But he was very friendly, but I was still on guard. It was just like, because I'm just like, because just that, seeing that uniform and that gun and everything and whatever else they have on their belts and everything like that, it puts you into panic mode, and I shouldn't have felt like that. And I
But we
guarantee,
do.
yeah, and I guarantee you, white people don't understand that. So they're like,
No, because they don't feel it. And again, they make the statement that, oh, well, if you haven't done anything wrong, you shouldn't be afraid.
right,
That is not true. That
yeah,
boy didn't do
nothing
anything
wrong.
wrong.
And how many times have we heard, and this is just what we see, the cases that make national attention. Just think about how much this happens on a daily basis.
It's just like with school shootings.
Mm-hmm.
Do y'all know how many school shootings they don't report?
Right.
Like, that we don't hear about?
Mm-hmm.
Like, they don't tell us every single time there's a episode of police brutality.
No.
If the family makes it an issue, if there's a video that surfaces, but think about how many times police brutality has occurred where no one was watching.
Exactly.
Because there's not always somebody in the bush recording,
Mm-hmm.
hiding. It's not always people there.
Right.
So, but I have said it quite frequently here lately. To be white in America is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I mean, in every instance in life. And I know that there are some black people who feel like, well, it shouldn't be about that. We should want to have unity for all. And there should be equal justice. Y'all,
Girl.
stop. Just stop.
Yeah.
Stop living in this fantasy world.
Right. Where everything
I'm
is
not
just going to
saying
fix
you that
itself.
every white person is, evil.
Right.
I got about 2 white friends.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that every white person, but I still make my position known even in their presence.
Right. And if you can't
Because they
understand
know.
that, yeah, they
Yeah, because
know.
they understand.
And that's how you can weed them out. Even black people, but white people, that's how you can weed them out. Be like, okay, you don't get it. Like
Yeah.
you don't. If you can't, you don't have to sympathize. Not well, no, that's the word I want to use. Not really sympathize, but if you can't understand, if you can't just listen to me and just get on the defense,
Mm-hmm.
then we have no business having a conversation. We have no business being in each other's lives because
Yeah.
you don't understand and you don't
Because
understand me.
racism is systematic. So if
Exactly.
you are a white person who honestly and truthfully in your soul believes that the only people who are being harassed by the police that are black are criminals,
Mhm.
then you don't understand the system in which your ancestors created.
Right.
Because black people, we talk about our ancestors a lot. Let's talk about the systematic way of
Mhm.
keeping black people oppressed that your ancestors have taken part in.
Mhm.
It's a system.
It is.
The police were created they were created to patrol and I'm about to use the word police twice,
Mhm.
but
But I know what you mean. Yeah.
to police release slaves.
Yeah. And protect
I
white
mean,
people, protect the white people. That's what they were
yes,
formed for. It
that
was
was their job.
it was never to protect black people.
No, it was to arrest black people.
Mhm.
It was another way that they were butt hurt because slavery was ending,
Mhm.
because they didn't have free labor anymore. And so how do we continue to keep them indentured servants?
Right.
Let's just jail them.
Mhm. We're going to put
Let's
them to
take them
work one
down to
way or the
Forestry
other.
Farm.
Yeah. And people don't realize that. And it's still like you said,
Yeah,
it's still systematic. It's still this way,
absolutely.
and it's and for people.
Everything about it is systematic.
Yeah.
I just had a lady come to my home, and she's a white lady, and her husband is mixed race. And she bought a house some years ago. And we had a conversation about her home before, about the way her home inspection went.
Mhm.
How she told me, like, oh well, some of my light sockets don't work. And I'm like, what are you talking about? That's the first step to get an inspection. They take that little orange thing and they plug it in all the light sockets in the whole house
Right.
to see if they're functioning. So she was like, they haven't worked since I got my house. So then she went on to explain, like, oh, well, we let the realtor get the home inspector, but he was the seller's realtor. You should not have done that.
Oh
And they
no.
should have known not to do that. They're going to tell you anything just to get the house sold.
Mhm.
So then this week, she talked about how her house is just falling apart. She's like, every time, yeah, as a matter of fact, because a couple of weeks ago, she said, we had like a real strong windstorm. I think y'all
Mhm.
probably had it too.
Yeah.
We had a real strong windstorm, and she said her attic, like the door, like it fell down, like it fell in.
Mm.
So basically, she was like, things are just falling apart. And she was talking about getting, some of the stuff fixed. She had a contractor who basically was telling her that he was working on $1 million home that belonged to some black people.
Mhm.
And that when the home, now after the contractor did all this work, house already $1 million home,
Mhm.
they're telling the black family that the house is only worth 500,000. So they did the whole, let's strip this house of looking like black people live here,
Mm.
and let's have a white person come in and sit for the appraisal.
Of course. Yeah.
Of course, then the house appraises at $1 million plus.
Mhm.
And she was like, she's a white woman now that I'm having this conversation with.
Right.
She was like, I did not know that people like did that. She was like, that is so crazy. I was like, yes, redlining still exists.
Yeah.
They just do it in different forms now.
Mhm.
Since they can't keep you out of certain neighborhoods, they'll make sure that you can't get what your house is really worth
Yep.
because you're black.
Mhm.
Like they just have changed it into a new system. Again, racism is systematic.
Yeah.
Who's been in charge of banking? Who's been in charge of housing?
Mhm.
Your ancestors
Right.
have created a system of racism.
And it hasn't changed.
It has not changed.
They just tweaked it so it won't be as upfront.
So it doesn't look like what it used to look like.
But why do you think all these banks and everything are getting sued for these very reasons? Because it still exists.
And then after you get sued, then Bank of America wants to say, oh, we're going to have this $20 million program, or however many millions, I think it was 20, where now we're going to aid in housing assistance. Yeah, your ass should.
Right.
Because you've done so much fraudulent activity to African Americans, you probably owe us.
Oh, yeah.
Like, get out of here.
And truth be told,
on this hill and talk all day about racism. Like, and systematic racism. Like, because
that's what people don't get. They don't
get
the systematic
part that people act so, oh, well, if you just, I mean, I think she said it on You People when on the movie on Netflix. Julia Louis-Dreyfus was the white guy's mom.
Yeah.
And she said, well, we came here, and if you would work hard, that's what. And Nia Long was like, so what's your husband do? He's an orthodontist. And what did his father do? No, excuse me, podiatrist. Yeah. He's a podiatrist. And what did his father do? He was a podiatrist. And what did his father do? He was a podiatrist. Yeah, now you get it. Do you see? That's nepotism. He probably couldn't get into. Let's just take y'all's former president, for example. You think that man can barely read? Listen. You telling me you think he got into Wharton Business School off of grades?
Listen.
Is that what y'all saying? Y'all think?
Yeah.
Please.
Daddy made a phone call, and that's all it took.
Every grade he got is because of who he is. And it's clear that he's not a good businessman. He's filed bankruptcy too many times.
Oh, no, he's smart, girl.
Filing bankruptcy don't show the success of you a damn lie. Yes,
right. Girl, bye.
It shows that you have poor management skills.
That you don't know what you're doing, really.
Too many risks. And they didn't pan out. Plain and simple. And he's still on top.
Yeah.
Show me some people that you know that done filed bankruptcy that many times and they still on top.
Exactly.
Who will spend a bunch of money, not pay their contractors, not pay their staff. Now we've learned that he's paying his people under the table. And we're not talking about, can you come cut my grass and I'm going to give you $2,500 in cash. He's paying 6-figure salaries under the table.
Yep.
Child.
I mean,
it's just pathetic. I need to leave. Can you beam me up? I mean, it's just crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is.
It's crazy. Like, and to see them be so smug. It's like, y'all, your whole life has been handed to you.
Yeah, and they still act smug and everything like that, and just entitled because they've gotten away with it for so long. I mean, that fool is in his mid-70s, if not late. I don't know how old the hell he is. He's old as fucking dirt. So it's like, he's been getting away with this stuff all his life. He's not going to change,
and it's happening everywhere. I will show the NFL, girl. The Cowboys. Listen, we all was Cowboys fans when we was kids. I respect, I know it hurt y'all. I understand. Cowboys ain't been shit since Jimmy. Okay? Let's be clear about that. Since Jimmy was coaching the Cowboys, they ain't been nothing.
No.
We was 15 back then, okay?
Right.
I want to be clear. It was the 90s. They just had they had a normal Cowboy season. They put you out there. They think that you think they're going to win. They lose. It's normal. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's typical. I'm a Giants fan. I get it. So, yeah.
They damn offensive coordinator got fired. The motherfucker had a job the next day.
I mean,
they were like, and they were just flat out saying it on NFL Live. On what planet can you conduct yourself the way he did at his job and get offered a job the next day?
The very next day.
How does this happen? and y'all overlooking black coaches.
Right.
But after the season he had, after the calls and the games that he had, you were able to get a job. You shouldn't have even been on a short list for jobs.
You should still be on the island somewhere vacationing and praying that somebody calls you
The next day.
the next day, honey.
And as soon as when they said it, I laughed, and so I told Ronnie, I said, to be white in America, baby,
Listen.
it's a beautiful thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wouldn't happen nowhere else.
Hell no.
Nowhere else would that have been acceptable.
No.
That's crazy.
It
Like,
is.
it just continues to happen time after time after time.
Yep.
And it is the world that we live in. But the thing that really, to me, this is just my opinion, the thing that really throws us off and holds us back is that we can't get on one accord like we used to.
Yeah. And I've been saying that for years.
You know.
And I want to have an episode on that because it's just time to call out black folks again.
I know people was mad at me when I said we need to really, and I don't care. I meant what I said. And like I told y'all at the beginning of the month, put me on a 30-day snooze. Because on Black History Month this year, we're going to say the stuff that we acting like we can't say.
Exactly.
And I plainly said we're going to need to establish blackness among us first.
Yeah.
Because if we don't establish blackness amongst black people, we'll never, prime example, and I'm going to tell you why I said it. So, you know, CBS This Morning has an anchor on there. His name is Vlad.
Yeah.
Listen, Vlad, to me, he definitely looks Asian. If his daddy black, I don't know. Vlad looks Asian.
Yeah.
Vlad got an Asian wife.
And
they had this whole segment. They've been doing it the whole time his wife has been pregnant because it's his first baby.
Right.
Vlad's going to be a dad. So the baby was born. And this particular morning, they switched it from Vlad's going to be a dad or something like that. And they scratched it out like Vlad is a dad. But what struck me about this cartoon, now, I don't know if it has looked like this the whole time, because let's be honest, I rarely pay attention to the TV, like, especially in the morning. Like,
yeah,
I'm not really...
It's background noise for me.
I'm not focused at all. And there's no noise because I always have the TV on mute. What struck me this morning is Vlad was brown as shit in that cartoon.
Because that's how they see him.
Vlad was damn near darker than me. And I said, now, wait a minute. What y'all doing? Vlad's not black?
Right.
Why did y'all do that? And that's what made me say, we're going to have to establish who is black and who ain't. Just like this whole thing with Patrick Mahomes. If you live your life like a white man, I'm going to respect you and treat you like a white man.
Right. Because that's obviously what you want to be. So, you know.
I mean, and to me, from what it looks like, Vlad lives his life like an Asian man. And I'm going to respect you as such. And I want y'all to know, because I be hearing a lot of this, you is what your daddy is. And if you got to drop a black, you're black. That is racist. I want you to know that whole system was created in from a racist mindset, basically.
Tell them.
It was the one drop rule.
Yep. Which
basically, if a white person was 92% white, but if you had a great granddaddy that was black, they told you your ass was black. That was the one drop rule. And y'all be running around here using that. That's stupid, and stop saying it.
Right.
It's racist. Stop saying it. Let them white people be white people. That's what they choose to be. Let them be. Patrick Mahomes lived his life like a white man.
Right.
When you look at him, he walked like a white man. Watch him walk. He got him a white wife and they having white babies. That man is white.
Okay.
Let him be if that's his choice. And I ain't trying to be funny, and I'm not trying to be what's the word? You know, Don't the LGBTQ people don't come after me when I say this. We don't have no problem letting boys say they want to be girls.
Right.
So let's respect the fact that these people is living a life as white people.
Right.
Let
Let
them.
them do it. That's why, you know what? I'm going to say this, and I know people probably, and I said this when it first happened. Rachel Dolezal. Now, this is the extreme opposite.
Yeah.
Typical white woman, grew up white, everything white, 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 white. She found it in a place in her life where I wanted to identify as black. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My thing was this. Okay, we know she's not black.
Right.
But if she wanted to identify as a black woman, that's her business. We don't have to
You don't have
accept
to
it.
accept.
Exactly.
Thank you.
We don't have to accept it, but let her do what she wants to do.
She's
And
obviously mentally ill.
yeah, she's obviously
You don't
mentally
have to
ill.
invite her to one speaking engagement. You don't have to put her on a panel about black people. You don't have to engage with her.
Right.
And this is the place that I wish we would get to.
Mm-hmm.
Let people be freely who they want to be.
Yeah.
You be responsible for cutting off communication with them.
Yeah, and it's back to the LGBT community. If you were born a man or a woman, a boy or a girl, and you do not feel comfortable in that body, now I don't understand the trans experience. I'm not trans, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But there are truly people. Why would you want to put yourself through that if you truly don't identify as that? Let them have that.
Yes, you don't have to associate with them.
Exactly.
It's the same thing with Kanye West.
Yeah.
If you have a problem with Kanye's antics,
Mm-hmm.
and I wish, and we're going back to the black community, because black people just stop engaging with certain people.
Mm-hmm. That's all.
Like,
you can't save
when
everybody.
we see, when we see black men, and I know this is a problem, when you see black men and they be dating white women and doing all this, leave them alone. This thing, they have already made their decision.
Yep.
It don't have to be no, oh, I hate that. This, we need to really get into our spirits just walking away from certain things.
Yeah, and I mean, it's different if you date one white woman. But if that's been your preference since you dated that one white woman and you went to the next and the next and the next, let them have it. That's what he's attracted to. That's what he wants.
Because I've seen a girl say this, and this is so true. Like, it's when we tell men that we do not care if you date white girls, we really do not care. The problem becomes when you make comparisons and you bash black women in the process of dating a white woman.
Now that's the issue that we have.
That white woman shouldn't even want to date you,
mm-hmm.
because you really don't have a preference for white women.
Right.
You just haven't found a black woman
mm-hmm.
who has reciprocated the feelings that you have for her.
Right.
So you've become frustrated and you said, I ain't dealing with no more black women. And so then you started dating white girls. That really ain't your preference, though.
Right.
You really do want a black woman.
Yeah.
You just ain't found one that like your goofy ass. And listen, and look, I just told somebody this a couple weeks ago. It's a lid for every pot.
Mm-hmm.
So don't give up.
Yeah. There's someone for everyone.
Yeah, it's somebody for everybody.
And you will find exactly what you're looking for if you just keep on looking.
Yes. But again, don't bash black women.
Mm-hmm.
That's where the problem comes in. And I have to give that same speech to black women.
Mm-hmm.
Stop bashing black men because they don't like y'all.
Right.
It don't make him gay. It don't mean he into white girls. He just don't like you.
Yeah.
Like, we gotta get out of this wanting to dog each other.
Yeah.
We gotta stop that.
That's
real.
The first thing. It's just like, if we can get past that, then we can work on the other things, because it's this one-upping each other that really pisses me off. It's the constant dogging each other, just if you don't like one thing that somebody does, or, if they don't agree with you or something like that. It's just like, it's
so
just too
funny
much.
that you just use these words. Let me tell you something. I will not say who the person is, but like, I was having thinking about it this morning, and I was like, I have these conversations with a person, and sometimes, like you said, that constant, when people are just like upset if you don't agree with them.
Oh gosh.
And it almost makes me feel like I'm completely, once they start to do this,
mm-hmm.
I'm not even focused on what we're talking about
Oh,
anymore.
completely zoned out. I'm done. I'm done with the
My
conversation.
real focus though then becomes, why are you acting this way? Like, why
Right.
does it bother you so much
Girl.
that someone doesn't agree with you? How did you like that becomes my like, I don't even know what we're talking about anymore.
Yeah, and you know
Then it
what?
just becomes I become very puzzled at your behavior, that
Yeah.
why haven't you discovered in life and respect that everybody has an opinion?
Listen, and that
And
was one of my biggest things that I used to get into, and I said used to because I don't give a fuck anymore. But I used to get into it with people on Facebook, like in the comments, because I would make a comment or something, and they would disagree with me, and that's fine. Disagree all you want to, but that doesn't mean that your opinion is right. So don't keep trying to feed into me that I'm wrong and you're right.
right.
That's just,
Yes.
girl.
I mean, people just have different opinions. Like that's just
And
life.
if you haven't figured
And
that
it
out by
doesn't mean
now,
that it doesn't mean that people are against you
exact.
because they don't agree with what
Listen,
you say. You are just two individuals who don't have the same opinion. There are people who are married and who are in relationships that don't have the same opinions on things.
yes.
Like when people, I'm telling you, when this person does this, I just become, I immediately just zone into this place where I'm like, I'm so puzzled by it. Like, why did you do that? Like,
What is wrong with you? Like, really? I
yeah,
think
like,
first it's like confusion. Like, really? Like, you
like,
really
are you
mad?
okay? Like,
No,
why does it
no, they're not.
upset you so much? Like,
Right.
that is my real, like, I want to just know that deeper. Why does that upset you so much that someone doesn't agree with you?
I don't
Ah,
get it.
ah, that is like, anybody in life that gets that. I just listen, and maybe that's the shrink in my brain, but
Mm-hmm.
it really makes me like feel empathy for you. Honestly, like you cannot go through life like that.
Right.
You can't. You would do better, like I said, to just if you see that someone has a difference of opinion to the point where it really bothers you, stop communication with that person.
Exactly.
Because nothing is worth you living your life in this constant, like, ugh, ugh, whatever. Like, no, no, life is too
It's
short.
way too
Nothing
short.
is worth you living in that place. Like, with everything that someone says to you, it's an issue.
Yeah.
Like, or everything they say to you disgust you. No, no, you don't have to live like that. Like, there is a world out there. I don't care if you live in one room with a TV. Like, it's you don't have to live that way.
Mm-hmm.
Peace of mind
Look,
and peace in your heart is way better than just being around people.
and it's so freeing. It is
Oh
so
my God,
freeing.
child, listen, listen. I
Child.
mean, listen. I sometimes, and I love everybody before I make this statement.
Come on,
Sometimes,
disclosure.
sometimes I have to ask myself, like, do you like people anymore? Like,
I
what's your
mean,
deal? Like,
I don't get it.
do you still like people? Because I don't. I mean, I have to ask myself, like, how do you feel about people? Because,
Right. It's
child,
exhausting. It's exhausting after a while.
I
Just
seen a lady on TikTok post a video,
mm-hmm.
and somebody else like reshared it, and it was like she was explaining why she was pregnant from one man while going through a divorce with another man.
Okay.
And like and she intentionally got pregnant. Like, let me be clear about that.
Oh.
Her and her new man intentionally got pregnant while she was still married.
Okay.
And she went on to explain, oh, we have documents, blah blah blah. But you know what I commented under that post? This world makes me sad.
Yeah.
It just, I said, our excessive need to share every moment in our lives. It really saddens me. It does.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say, I'm not telling you to be ashamed of it. Like, I'm not.
Right.
But you know, It was like that episode on The Big Bang Theory when Sheldon drew that circle and then another circle, like he made like a diagram. There is a little bit of business that you and your partner should know. Then on the next circle, maybe you tell your family and your close friends. Then the next circle, maybe your colleagues. Like, let's really work on who you share what information with.
Exactly.
Because it's not for the internet. It's just not.
Mm-hmm.
And we have this need now that even grown people are being peer pressured into, if you don't show it, it didn't happen.
Right. Yeah.
The more I see stuff like that, the further I sink into a hole. Like, I just want to get away from it. I have an obsessive need to not be peer pressured into giving this world a piece of myself.
Right.
I
You can't.
I can't do it. Like,
because first of all, it's just like they don't deserve it.
No, they don't.
I mean,
I think I've given enough of myself, like, as far as smiling and being a good friend in high school, in college, even in my 20s, some of my 30s. I just got off the train. I just got off.
Yeah, I mean, putting up with stuff that you may at the time not have known that you shouldn't have, and you look back on it now and you're like, well, damn.
And now to see how everyone acts, I just, like I said, to see how people seem to fight to want to tell all their business. I fight just as hard to say nothing.
Right.
Like, because it's just, because we also came from an age, though, where they used to tell us, and we missed the mark in telling these kids. What was the one thing they told us about the internet? Once you share, you can't get it back.
Exactly. Once it's on there, it's on there.
So,
yeah.
I just stand back and see what color sugar gonna put on the walls, baby.
And then I'm going to just keep going by the words of Miss Dominique Devereaux and that meme that clip I posted from Dynasty the other day where she said, I don't trust people or something like that, or I don't share myself with people, and especially people, I mean, even people I know. It was something on that order. Yeah. There's only so much that, you need to put out there, and if anything, it's just the basics. My name. You just need to know my name, pretty much. That's just where I'm at. And even then, that's a little, but
yeah, I just, some of you, I really feel sad because it feels like people don't understand how precious they are.
Yeah.
That's the part that really
and I think that's what really bothers me too. Yeah, I think that really bothers me is that you don't understand your worth, you don't respect your worth, you don't get it. That you are worth so much more.
And I know sometimes when we say that, know your worth and respect yourself, people are like, yeah, because I'm a bad bitch. No.
Y'all keep thinking that.
Because you're the same person who still be naked. So you still don't get it. You the same person who still put every sentence of your conversations on social media. No, you still don't get it. Respect that it's a privilege to know you.
In your 40s bragging about how much you smoke. No shade, but
Oh shit, here we go.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Here we go. But I'm saying, it's a privilege to know you. I am the ultimate supporter. If you know me and you have the privilege to be in communication with me, and it's a privilege. I don't never really toot my own horn, but it is a privilege. I'm going to support you and raise you up as far as I can push you in the air.
Yeah,
because it's a privilege to know you. It's a privilege to to be in your space, and I encourage women to treat themselves like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you got to be a bitch or be an asshole.
Right.
That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying just love yourself so much that you say, I don't have to tell everybody that.
Right.
It ain't none of their business.
Right.
Like, no. I told a girl that on TikTok. She gonna tell a man who probably sound like he liked her. She ain't know him but 2 days that she was going on a date with another man.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Did you send that to me, or did I just
I
happen to see
might
that?
have. And I told her, ma'am, it's not everybody's business what you do.
Mm-hmm.
People ask me all day long, what you doing? Nothing.
Yeah, because didn't she just like meet him or something like that, and then
Yes.
they were
She
really
talking about,
feeling
but
each
was I
other?
supposed to lie to him? I didn't. Y'all are weird.
Weird.
What you mean lie to him? You don't even know him.
Y'all need to go back and watch Chappelle's show, and when he had that segment called "When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong," because some of y'all keep it a little too real and it backfires because you think that you're keeping it real, but you're just being stupid.
Yeah, like you don't know him. What? Because you know what we have taken from women? We have taken the mystery out of things.
Mm-hmm.
We don't encourage mystery in women anymore.
Right.
Women used to like save something, keep something. You
Mm-hmm.
know, they used to like cover up.
Yeah.
You had to really invest in a woman to get to know her personally,
Mm-hmm.
like to get in her personal space. Men used to count that as a privilege because she didn't give it away to everybody.
Right.
She didn't let everybody in her space. Nowadays, the whole world has seen you naked.
Mm-hmm.
That's your most prized possession.
You
Is
let it be
you.
known who all you sleeping with.
Now y'all tell everybody who you didn't have sex with.
Mm-hmm.
You let any man come to your house, and if they don't come to your house, you'll go to a hotel with them. Y'all just, golly, it really makes me sad.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah.
And until we get that, like, and I'm not saying black women get it together for black men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying get it together so you can be whole.
Yeah.
Because a lot of you are also raising children and you're single mothers.
Yeah.
Get it together for those kids. You know, you would be
Mm-hmm.
surprised, child,
Yeah.
what these kids is going through and saying about y'all at the schoolhouse.
Oh, child.
Just get it together for the babies.
That's
like,
it.
real talk.
That's it. And that's why y'all's kids are out here acting a fool, you know.
Because something else I'm coming across, you just really, it's really sad to me that we are graduating so many kids from high school and they are not going on to college.
Mm-hmm.
For every kid that we see that is going to college, y'all, there are so many kids who are not going to higher education.
Right.
So those are, I seen somebody post their work picture,
Mm-hmm.
and it was like picture day, and I think they're a teacher. And at first I thought it was like a school photo,
Mm-hmm.
and then I zoomed in like, oh shit, these grown people. And then I said, wait a minute, it's too many white people in this. We are not graduating enough kids from high school who can go on to college, who can replace some of these white women in the classroom.
Right.
It's so many white women teachers out here
Mm-hmm.
teaching in predominantly black schools.
Yeah.
And the only way we gonna change that is if we encourage these kids to go on to higher education.
And you know what the sad thing about it is? Like, I know and have heard of it. Like, one of my aunts, she's a teacher in, predominantly black school. Because she teaches for Columbus City schools.
Uh-huh.
But even I know personally, and she has talked about it, there have been so many black teachers who quit teaching. And they've gone on.
And again, because y'all's kids are disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be clear, because black people only gonna take disrespect for so long.
Exactly. That's what I was getting ready to. I was like, they're not going to take the same thing because here's the thing. The white folks, and this is even when we were in school, the white teachers, their kids didn't go to Columbus Public Schools.
No.
So they didn't give a shit. They came and did their job and went home. These teachers nowadays, like my aunt, she's an elementary school teacher. They put in so much time and I didn't even realize. Now I don't know if this is a new thing that they have to do, like all these meetings and all this other stuff. But I told my grandmother, I said, I don't get it because when we were in school, that teacher's parking lot was cleared out before the buses were gone. So it's
Baby,
like,
listen.
I mean, they were out.
And let me say this, my best friend is a assistant principal. She doesn't encourage her staff to do that.
Right.
She does not encourage her staff. She does not encourage the other principals. Like, Do not stay here. Do stop coming in here at night. Stop coming in here on the weekends.
Right.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
we contracted from 7, I think school is out at 2:30. If we contracted from 7 to 3:30, you shouldn't be in here no later than 4.
I'm
Get
gonna
out of
tell my
here.
aunt that. I need to have her talk to her because I'm just like, because I
Yeah,
mean they put
Brittany
in
does
so
not
much
encourage
time.
that. She does not
Yeah.
encourage that at all.
See.
Like, no, get out of here. But let me tell you something. The company love to give free time for you. I don't care if it's the schoolhouse or whatever
Baby,
place.
listen.
They love for you to, and yeah, that's why you got to be careful when you a salary employee too. Don't you get them a minute over what they pay you
Nope.
for.
Don't do it.
Because that's free. That's just free. You working for free at that point.
Because if you salary, because I've been salary before and they tried to pull that on me, and I was like, no. I
Yeah.
was like, you're going to have to give me something else. You're going to have to put some overtime in there or something. You know, have to figure out something.
Yeah, a lot of salary employees are not eligible for overtime.
Right.
So if they contract you for 7 to 3, you need to be, your bag should be packed. You should be walking at 2:59 to the car.
Listen, people used to laugh at me about that, but I would be so serious, and I would be like, all you would see,
that work gonna be here tomorrow.
Child, listen, they would laugh at me because this is when my hair was long, and I would say, they would say, all we see at girl, the ponytail, or when I wore my hair down, they said all we saw was a ponytail and that chair spinning. I'm like, I'm not giving them no extra time.
Bye.
That's it.
No. That salary employee shit is a trap.
Okay.
Let me say this, and I ain't gonna call it no trap, but you gotta break yourself out of it.
Right. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta know what you're doing. You gotta.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't give them any extra time.
Don't give them a minute extra than what they pay you for.
Because it's a contract. Like you said, for teachers, they are on contract. But when you are a salaried employee, that's basically a contract too. It's like, like you said, if my schedule is 7 to 3, 3 o'clock, no. I remember like when I worked for a particular company, which I don't give them any, shout out. But when I worked for a particular company for a long time, I remember back when I first started, and this is even before I got on salary, but when I first started, they said that, it's fine to start shutting down your computer. Now, granted, this was the early to mid 2000s when computers did take forever to, start up and reboot. But they said, you can start shutting down 5 minutes early. That was all. I still stand by that rule when I'm at a totally different place. I get off at 3 o'clock. At 2:55, I am shutting everything down. Even though I work from home now, it's just like everything is being shut down. Yeah.
Bye.
Because at 3 o'clock, everything shut down. I'm going to make sure that I'm not giving you an extra minute over, and especially y'all acting funny about overtime. But that's a whole nother subject. We're not going to get into that. But girl, it's just like don't give people more than what they're willing to give you. Yeah.
Girl, yeah, but these kids at these schools, they are definitely, we need to graduate kids and get them into higher education.
Yeah. They have to do something afterwards because so many of what I've noticed is that so many of these kids, they look at things and they're just like, I'm going to start a podcast. I'm going to do a YouTube channel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Do you know how many people are out here doing the same thing? What makes you?
And most of the people who are successful got in on the front end. Maybe if you coming in on the back end, you're gonna struggle.
Exactly.
You're gonna struggle. And these kids don't know nothing. I about was ready to knock Sade whole head off. She gonna come telling me, girl, they did some project at the school, and it was like, basically it was about saving money when you go off to college.
Yeah.
Not going broke your freshman year of college.
Right.
So, she explained the project to me. Okay, blah, blah, blah. I said, well, you're not going to work when you go to school. Like, you can get a work-study job. I don't want to get a work-study job. I said, what the fuck you mean you don't want to get a work-study job? It's free money.
Exactly.
What are you talking about?
You need to be focused on school.
What is it? Well, what is it? I said, hold on. So you sitting here telling me you don't want to do it and you don't even know what it is? I said, I can't stand y'all.
She heard job. That's all. She heard work, study, job. That was 3 words, and she was like, "Wait a minute,
come on,
that sounds like a lot."
Well, what is it? What is it? Like you working while you studying? Like what is? I was like, oh, y'all so stupid. Y'all get on my nerves. It ain't no way you got a 3.9 GPA and you just said that to me. It is. There's no way in hell. I was like, I'm not buying this shit. Girl, I got so
I can see
damn
your
mad.
face right now, just like, girl, like
I
really?
mean, like, what? Oh my God. Y'all got to keep me lifted up in prayer,
Child,
child.
because
Because
it's
this
just
girl
beginning,
right here.
girl. It's just beginning. She's just starting the
Oh
process, child.
God.
You know how it goes. Oof.
Jesus. This is like serious business.
Lord have mercy.
So 1 year. It's been
Yes.
1 year.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah, I mean, we've done like, so we have 4 seasons in a year. We
Mm-hmm.
broke it up like that on purpose.
Yeah.
And we've done, sometimes we did 10 shows. So I think a couple of seasons were 10 shows. So
Mm-hmm.
the other seasons were probably about 12 shows.
Yeah, something like,
So
yeah.
we've got at least 40 some shows.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good, you know.
Yeah.
Um, it was in the works for years.
Right. We talked about
So
it for a
to
long
see
time.
that we stuck with it,
Mm-hmm.
and every season we try to do something different, or push it to the max,
Yeah.
do something that we didn't do the season before.
Right.
And um we liked having guests or like inviting people, but sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just like it to be us, and I hope we love everybody who helped or participated. But you
Right.
know I should have had my mom on this week,
Oh yeah. We gotta
because
get her on.
she was here. We got to get her on
Yeah, we gotta get her on because
so she can talk about professionalism in the beauty market, because
yes. Yeah,
she
because a lot
she
of
said
y'all.
she mentioned it. She just mentioned it Thursday,
Oh,
because she
okay.
was doing Sade's hair,
Mm-hmm.
and she was like really asking me. She said, "So I saw something and they were talking about these girls." I think I sent her a video like, they don't wash hair. I said, "Oh no, they're not washing hair."
Mm-mm.
I said, "No, they're not washing hair." She said, "So." She said, "They better be glad I don't work for State Board, because I would be finding all of them."
I know that's right.
I said, "Oh yeah, they're not." She said, "That is against State Board. You can't be having people come in there and you not giving them a full service."
Yeah.
I said, "Oh yeah, baby, they don't wash hair no more.
They just trying to get you in and out, get that next
That's a
person
thing
in
of the
that chair.
past.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to come with your hair washed and blow dry,
Yep.
and they just want to braid you down.
Mm-hmm.
If you could come braided down, that would be great."
Right.
Most
Basically.
real, most real girls who out here doing sew-ins, they want to braid you down, because they say the braid down helps with the way that the sewing falls. But
Mm-hmm.
I said, no, it's raggedy out here for sure.
Yeah, basically, yeah. And back to people, yeah, we definitely had to get her on the show to talk about that because a lot of these girls and guys out here need to know about
Hmm.
professionalism, period, but especially in the hair industry,
Yeah.
the beauty industry, period. Um, but people have asked, like I want to be on the show, and people have done
Oh,
this.
that's cool.
But you know what? But the thing is, people, and I'm not being shady. I promise I'm not being shady. I'm being real right now. Well, me being
Hmm.
shady is being real too, but I'm not being shady. Um, but people have asked to be on the show, and it's just like, okay, and I'll ask them. I'm like, okay, well, what do you want to talk about? What are you going to bring to it? Because this is different.
Hmm.
This is a different format. Like when we
Hmm.
had Brandy, she wasn't
Hmm.
technically on the show, but she gave us information,
Yeah,
very
we came up
helpful
with a
information.
question, and yeah,
Yeah.
right, right.
And when we had
Ashley.
Ashley on the show, that was it fed into what the show is now. You just want to be on
Right.
the show because you want to get in front of a mic. That's one thing. Bring that to DannieBSpeaks, the podcast. When I get that going
Hmm.
back on, I'll put it out there. If you want to be on the show, but even then, you got to have something to talk about. You got to
Right.
have something going on.
Hmm.
It's not like I want to be on your podcast. Okay, what are you going to bring to the podcast? Because we're
Right.
bringing something every
What is
week.
your area of specialty? Because we
Exactly.
ask people to be on the podcast who have an area of specialty. Like
Right.
Ashley is a self-care specialist.
Yes.
She is also like an HIV, health and sex education. She is a specialist in those
Mm-hmm.
things.
Right.
Brandy is a licensed professional realtor. We
Mm-hmm.
had her information in a segment where we were talking about the real estate market and the way that
Right.
things are going. So, what exactly is your area of specialty that you want to discuss?
Right. Yeah. So that's the thing that you really have to think about. And if we come across somebody, that's just like if I'm online or something, and or especially if it's somebody that we know, because both of those
Right.
people are people that, like, you knew Ashley, or
Right.
Ashley, I should say, and we
Hmm.
both know Brandy.
Right.
So it's like, those are people that we know. And we may, like, if we do have people on the show, it may be somebody we come across online and just throw out, be like, hey, you do this, or you're
Right.
talking about this, would you be on the show?
And honestly, that's how I asked Ashley, because so Ashley and I used to work at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
I saw Ashley's name because she like actually clocked in. She was a part-time employee.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, I saw her name. Just so happened to be on Facebook and was like, oh, I remember this name from, she had a time card at the job.
Mm-hmm.
So I friended her on Facebook, and from then on, I saw, what her content was about. I
Yeah.
don't necessarily have a personal relationship with her,
Right.
but I see what her content is about, and that's how we invited her onto the show.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
So that
yeah, if
makes
we come
sense.
across someone
Mm-hmm.
who has interesting content that lines up with the content that we have, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
We
that's
don't
no
turn that
problem.
down.
Right. Yeah, but it's just
And I
like,
think that would
bring
be a good
something.
thing for season 5,
Mm-hmm.
to at least have 3 guests that season,
Yeah.
so we can, kind of hammer out what we want to discuss and
Yeah.
what their area of specialty is.
Yeah. And like I said, I will put it out there, but if I feel like it's not something that's for this show, you can bring it to Danny B Speaks, the podcast. And it's not taking
Right,
nothing away from
right,
this
right, right,
show. It's
right.
just like it's not going in the same direction that this show is going. Danny B Speaks is all,
Absolutely.
I mean, now this show could be all over the place, but we have a premise.
Right, we do.
Yeah, so it's just like it's a different type of format. Danny B Speaks is all over the damn place. So that's something different. So, but if I do put something
It's
out.
all over the place in a great way.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you. Thank
Don't
you.
make it sound like it's in shambles.
Right, right. Yeah, it's not that. Yeah, it's just like I talk about everything. Like if my website, like I put everything on there. So
Right.
it's just everything. It's just like my social media pages. Everything's going to get on there. It's going to be serious stuff. It's going to be funny
Hmm.
stuff. It's going to be personal. Well, not too personal, but some stuff.
Right.
Things that affect me personally, I should say. But
Hmm.
but yeah, I mean, so it's just like you have to bring something. You just can't say, "Oh, I want to be on your show." And then let me say this too. Hold on. And then we're going to get out of here because we're past time that we wanted to be on here. But let me say this: if you want to be on my podcast, and I'm just talking about Danny B Speaks because this is people who have been saying this for a long time. If you have been telling me for years that you want to be on the podcast, and this could be this one too, anything. If you want to be on anything, if you want to be featured as a writer on the website or whatever, but you don't share anything about it, you don't talk about it. And I'm not saying that you have to share everything that, we put out there or I put out there or whatever, but at least show some interest.
Right.
That's what really bothers me too. So there have been people who I wouldn't have mind having on, Danny B Speaks the podcast,
Uh-huh.
but you have never once, communicated with my business page. You have never,
Yeah.
it's just like, I watch things like that, and it's not to be shady. It's just like we need to work with each other here.
Right.
That's the thing. So that's, and we can bring that over
You're
here
not
too.
necessarily interested in me. Let's call
Exactly.
a thing in the words of a young.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're not necessarily interested in me.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you haven't interacted with the places that I put my content,
Mm-hmm.
you don't really care. You just want to get on the show, like you
That's
said.
it. That's it. Thank you. Yeah, let's just, like you said, let's just call thing a thing. That's what it is. You just want to be on. You just want to be on the show, and that's
Right.
fine. Just say that. But don't like keep bugging me about it for years. Like
Right.
it has been years for some people, and I'm just like, but you have never once, and I don't throw that down people's throat. Like, oh, promote
Mhm.
this, put this out here, share this. I don't do that.
Right.
Because most of my supporters, let's keep it real, aren't people that I know personally.
Right.
So it's like,
Well, Super said that
yeah,
the people who gonna support you ain't gonna be your family and your friends.
right.
It's gonna be strangers. It's gonna be people you don't know.
And that's what it is. And speaking of which, before
So,
we get out of here with the closing, I do want to say, and I did put something on my social media, and I will again today, but I was interviewed by John Effect from the John Effect podcast with his
Yeah.
little cute self. I was so I will be on his show discussing various HBCU experiences that I've had. He's doing a series. Now his podcast has been around for a long time. I've known John for years.
Uh-huh.
But it'll be out Tuesday, the same day as ours.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so
good.
so I did an interview with him on Martin Luther King Day, right? Like maybe an hour after we recorded that day. And
Oh.
yeah, but he's doing a series. I think he said it's like a 4 or 5 part series. Don't quote me on that.
Mm-hmm.
On the HBCU experience because he went to a PWI. So he just yeah, so he
Oh.
really just wanted to do this to help him understand the experience and
Mm-hmm.
also to put it out there to get more people aware of it. So
Yeah.
I could only
That
give
would be nice. I'm sure that's
yeah. Yeah. So so that'll be out Tuesday as well, the same day that ours is released. So and check him out too because John is a fool. You know, he's
oh,
funny.
okay,
So
yeah.
yeah.
I'm gonna listen to it.
Yeah. He's been doing it because he's one of the first people who I listened to. Like when I first started listening to, and I discussed on the podcast how I found out who he was. But like when I first started listening to like the Read and all these other podcasts that were out, you know, back
Oh,
then.
okay, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
he was like one of those people who I found like through there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because
We'll definitely have to check it out. And we'll have to put the link,
yeah, when I get all that.
when it comes out, like we'll share the link.
Yeah, definitely. So watch out for that. But other than that, you know, I guess we're done here for this week, girl. So
All
go on and
righty.
take
Well,
us out,
guys,
sis.
you guys have an amazing week. Be blessed. Do something positive. Um, if you white, go do something with your black friends. Let them
Listen,
introduce you to black culture.
that's it.
If you black, go hang out with some black people.
Hmm.
Stop hanging out with your white friends all the time. Go be around your black family members and your black friends.
Right.
I know sometimes it'd be hard for us to be together, but just try.
Love yourself.
Yes, please love yourself. And on that note, you know that you can reach us at girl underscore you know what on Instagram. From there, you can get to our perspective pages and websites. And again, we will release on Tuesday. So we'll see you then. You guys have a great week.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.